Dear viewers and listeners, welcome back to the channel once again. My name is Kanyana Rachel, and today in the studio once again we have an amazing, well-celebrated woman, well-credited woman, and now I'll invite her to introduce herself.
Thank you, Rachel. Hello, viewers. My name is Dr. Victoria Katasi. I am a health and wellness expert, and I'm also a specialist treating children with brain and spine cancers and blood disorders. Welcome to this edition of Wellness.
Indeed. Now, Dr. Victoria, for someone who is a wellness coach, a holistic wellness coach for that matter, for someone who treats children with spine and brain cancers, and for someone who is also a lecturer, because I understand you work with medical students, and for someone who is also a medical researcher, how in the world are you able to do all these things without getting burnout?
So thank you very much, Rachel, for that question. And I guess this will also start us off into what we are going to talk about as I talk about my experience.
Indeed.
We are going to talk about some strategies that you can use to help you prevent burnout. And drawing from my experience, as Rachel has said, I look like I am a very busy lady for sure, being a wellness coach, doing clinical work, managing children with brain and spine cancers and blood disorders, also investing in research, and also teaching, because I do teach at the level of undergraduate students, postgraduate students, and also fellows who are studying to become specialists like me or like myself. How do I avoid burnout?
Yes.
If you have looked at my channel, and maybe if you're new here, I'll tell you a bit about my story. I have actually suffered from burnout before. When I had just qualified as a super specialist, and super specialist means the level that I am at currently as a specialist for children, brain and spine cancers. Of course, being very passionate about this field and making a difference in my country, because I was the first and currently I'm still the only one in Uganda and also in East Africa. I was very energetic to make a difference, but making a difference, I guess, in a short time. I think some of my timelines were a little bit unrealistic. It's that energy and passion of youth that was driving me.
Yeah.
And so I found that I spent so much time in clinic, and I would work, maybe from morning to about, 10 p.m. I'm still trying to, finish up with patients, read a lot and all the things that I needed to do. And so with time, it became very difficult to actually continue with doing my work. I was losing passion from my work. I was getting, irritable at work, every time that I'd have conversations with my colleagues, with my patients. I no longer enjoyed my work the way that I initially used to enjoy it. And I found that my interest in it was waning. And I was just tired chronically, physically, mentally, And so that's when I got extremely interested in, how to optimize your wellness as a high achiever, as a high performing person with so much to do, so that you actually stay on top of your game and still achieve what you need to achieve and live a life of significance and impact. And so I actually incorporated some strategies into my life that we're also going to talk about. One of the first strategies is setting boundaries. I have learned that it's important to know when to say no. Okay, sometimes you have a lot on your plate and then you're asked to take up another task. It is okay for you to say, look, for this week or for the next 2 weeks, I already have my schedule full. Okay, my plate doesn't have any extra space for another snack or for any more work to do. So I would ask that we postpone what you want me to do 2 weeks later if it's possible, and if not, then we can look for somebody else who can take it up. So learn to say no.
Learn to say no. That is a very interesting one, because I remember personally when I just started out in my career, I was young and naive, just graduated, and I felt like if I said no, I'm going to be the bad person here. They're going to, they might think I'm not passionate about my work or I don't like it, but also in the long run, you realize that it will cause you to burn out. Now, learning from Dr. Victoria Katasi, who literally survived burnout herself, this is very important. And I think you've given a live example on how you can actually say no. Is you look at your schedule and you're able to tell them, look, I do not have space for any more tasks this week. Perhaps you can move it to the next one, right? That is because sometimes you fail on how best can I actually tell them, or maybe when I say no, okay, you just end up accepting, but instead it's actually damaging you. You're going to burn out in the process. Very key point for you to note down.
Okay. And then also in setting boundaries, it's have a clear time for everything. Remember and maybe previously we've talked about the fact that your life has so many different dimensions. And that is why holistic wellness looks at your life in all the different dimensions. There should be a time for you to work, but there also should be a time for you to rest as an individual. There are things that you enjoy to do, whether it's take a walk in nature, whether for you it's, to go and watch a movie, okay? There should be a time for you to do those things that you enjoy to do, because they help you to release the stress and focus better when you work. There should be a time for you to actually invest in your physical wellness as a person. So a time to, go to the gym or work out at home or go running or go swimming or, ride a bike, whatever it is. There should be a time to hang with friends or with your children, with your spouse. So in setting boundaries, also make sure that those areas of your life are also taken care of. That the time that I'm spending with my family is essentially time to spend with my family. I am not with my children and we're having conversations, we are talking, we are playing, and I'm on my laptop. Okay? So that is also part of where you learn, to put certain, boundaries in place until maybe people at work that past 7 p.m. I'm not available for work-related calls, okay? And unless you work in a field like mine where sometimes there are emergencies, you can call me for an emergency, but if it's not, please wait till tomorrow. Right. In fact, one of the things that I've learned to do is to utilize the apps on my phone. There are different modes on the phone for sure. There's a sleep mode. Yes. There's a do not disturb mode, okay? There's a flight mode. Remember when you go on a flight, they tell you put your phone on flight mode? Yes. You can use these things in daily life.
That's a very good tip.
So learn to do these things. If for the next 2 hours I want to be engaged, there's a manuscript I want to write and finish, and I want no disturbance, I want to focus, you put your phone in do not disturb mode. Whichever call comes in just goes to missed calls. It says you're busy. Yeah. And when that time is finished, you can then now address the calls of whoever was calling you. You can look at your WhatsApp. When it's time to sleep, put your phone in sleep mode. No one can contact you at that point till the alarm for when you wake up goes on, the mode changes, and learn to utilize those things, because those are boundaries you set in place to protect yourself.
That's a very good point. I was going to say, tell that to someone who literally, even going to bed, you sleep with your phone right there. Every single notification will even wake you up from your sleep. Thank you for sharing that, Dr. Victoria. Yeah.
So the next tip or strategy that I want us to talk about is prioritizing self-care. Okay. When we grow up and become adults, as we are doing this adulting thing, we tend to think that putting time aside, to just relax, release stress, okay, and invest in yourself as a person is time wastage. We think it's not important, or so many people have that mindset. But I'm here to remind you that it's important to take care of yourself. You can't pour out of an empty cup. I'm sure you've heard that saying for so many times, that it's important to invest in yourself first, because then you have what to give back to others. So you need to find time to release your stress. And depending on what works for you, it may be that you just want to soak in a tub 30 minutes at the end of your day, and that's just your quiet time with some nice music, quiet, alone in the bathroom with no noise from the children and your spouse, okay? Yeah. It could be that you just want to sit somewhere in a quiet corner and meditate for maybe 45 minutes out of your day, okay? It could be that you just want to go and read a book somewhere, in nature, or somewhere in a quiet bookshop, or whatever it is that works for you, or even watch a movie for 2 hours. Yeah. Learn to invest in your self-care as a person. It's important for you to take care of yourself, so then you're able to better show up as the best version of yourself in everything else that you do.
Yeah, as you said that, really, I've been around people who feel like even when I take some time off, maybe to go to the cinema, spend some time with my family, it's like I'm losing out, because there's a sense of competition, but also there's this thing where we compare ourselves with our peers of okay, we are fresh graduates, for instance, we got into work, there's that excitement, I want to be working 24/7, or I must have achieved this by this age. And then I find that many people really neglect a very big chunk of their lives. And I even wonder how they perform well when they neglect that well-being. I believe that is when you get to a certain age, you're actually dealing with certain illnesses that you should have prevented, you would have been able to prevent if you had implemented, or if you had taken care of if you had prioritized your self-care.
That is true. And that reminds me, one of my mentors, so I take Robin Sharma as a mentor. I love that gentleman so much.
He's amazing. Yeah,
for sure he is. I have read a lot of his books, and I invest in some of the courses that he puts out. So one of the things that he always likes to say is, you don't want to be the richest person in the graveyard. For sure, it's
Wow.
important to make
Wow.
money. Yes, we want to make money, and we are going to make the money. But in what state are we making the money? And when we've made the money, are we actually able to enjoy that money? Okay.
Yeah.
Meaning that as you're making the money, make sure you're taking care of yourself, okay? So that you'll also have the chance to actually live the life that you want to live and make use of that money and enjoy that money, rather than kill yourself because of working too much and not taking care of yourself and your health. And then the time that you actually could have enjoyed all the benefits, you are on your deathbed, okay? Or you're constantly in and out of hospital, you know? So don't be the richest person in the graveyard.
That's rather powerful, man. That's really powerful. I don't even know how to add on to that. But on a lighter note, now that you even mentioned Robin Sharma, the other day we were, organizing my books, and I think I have a couple of his books as well. And one of the very first books of his that I read was The Monk Who Stole His Ferrari. So when my daughter got this book, she read, okay, The Monk Who Stole His Ferrari. Mommy, why did he sell his Ferrari? It's such a fancy car. And I thought that was really funny. But anyway, I'm saying that to say, anyway, with the previous video that we recorded, read. Robin Sharma is really a great person. You would also find him to be a mentor, though his books really would change your life, and you can see that statement that he made. You don't want to be the richest person in the graveyard. That's a very powerful one. I would love for that to sink in with you. Moving on, Doctor.
So the next strategy that we're going to talk about is learn how to manage your workload. Because we all have different responsibilities in life, for sure. Sometimes your career, men or women. In addition to that, probably your family people. So you have responsibilities to your spouse, to your children, and to your other families. And maybe you're also running businesses of your own, okay? So there's a lot that you have that is going on in your life.
Yeah.
However, you need to learn how to manage your workload, because remember we said if you don't, you're going to burn out because you're doing so much, so you get exhausted. So first of all, learn what is priority. Learn how to prioritize your life and your tasks. And this is where planning comes into play. Learn to be a person who plans, okay?
Yeah.
Have a day in your week where you plan, or in the month, the beginning of the month, where you sit and plan. These are the tasks that I want to do this month. These are goals I want to achieve, and then break them into smaller tasks. Weekly. So per week, this is what I want to tackle for this task, that by the end of the month we have actually achieved it, and have a set time for it in your schedule. Because when you put time for something, you do it, and then you won't run around trying to meet things around their deadlines. And in addition also, learn to delegate. Sometimes you just have so much to do, okay? And you don't have to do everything by yourself. So if there are tasks that can be done by other people and don't only require your expertise, have someone else on your team help to handle that task as well. And that will help you to not actually burn out as well. So learn how to manage your workload.
Yeah, thank you so much for pointing that out. And if to understand very clearly, you do have executive planners. Yeah, I find that it really helps me when I write my tasks down for the day that I have to do, but also where you're writing them. Dr. Victoria designed a really nice executive planner that can help you in your daily activities. You can stay on track, you can stay up on your game, but also you're not burning out because you're not juggling through different tasks. You're not, just remembering and catching it. Oh, I was actually supposed to do this. But instead, you have everything written down, organized, and you're following them to plan. So if you're really interested, the link is going to be in the description box. You can pre-order your copy today, and you be on top of your game, because why not, without even getting burnt out.
Yeah, and the beauty about being able to plan, like Rachel has said, write down things, and you could use a digital planner or a hard copy, and we actually have both available. You can have a digital planner or a hard copy in print. I like the digital planners because they also have a link to your calendar. If you have a Google Calendar, so you can write a task and then you take it directly to your Google Calendar and know that day you're supposed to do it and the time you're supposed to do it, so that you have an automatic reminder for you. For those who like the hard copies, of course, when you're planning the things into your diary, then you'll have to copy them manually into your digital calendar to remind you of when to do them. But this is actually important, like Rachel said, to actually keep you organized in your life. And you realize that it will actually declutter your life, because everything has its place, for sure. So,
Okay. Moving on to the next point, Doctor.
Okay, and I think our last strategy is to have a support system.
Very, very key.
Yes. So it's very important. You see, usually as high performers and high achievers, we like to think that we can do it all by ourselves.
Yeah.
And we want to do it all by ourselves. You know, we all think we are Wonder Woman and Superman and we're here to save the world. And it is good for us to, you know, want to do all these amazing and, you know, huge things and to dream big and to want to save the world. But at a certain point, it can get too much. And you cannot carry all of it onto your shoulders. But also, there are skills that you will not have or experiences you haven't been through. There's somebody who has done what you've done before.
Yes.
Okay? And their experience is useful because, one, it can help you avoid the pitfalls they went through. But also, it can help you to draw on what was, you know, good and positive so that you're able to build on that and climb on that to get where you need to get faster than they actually got there.
True.
But also, there are times that, you know, you find things challenging, you're tired. You need somebody to just uplift you and tell you, I believe in you, you know, you can do it and we can do this together, and help you see a different perspective of how to go around what it is. So a support system is really important. So make sure you have those support systems in place. It could be a mentor, okay? It could be, you know, a friend who we just call and talk about where we are in life, what we are achieving. It could be your spouse, whoever you can reach out to. And also it can be a therapist or even a coach who is walking the journey that you're walking with you, but have some support systems in place.
That is very true. And I think for me, another way that I like to look at it, for example, I'm doing this really from a live example. For instance, for mothers, if you have like young children, but also you're career oriented, you're someone who is pursuing your career, if you have a very good support system, for example, your family, you can ask them to watch the kids while you pursue things that are important or matter to your career, so that you don't find yourself juggling in between kids, but also juggling in between work. And I feel like in the process, you either end up, you will be burnt out, and the worst case scenario, you give up. You'll have to give up either in your career, and yet it shouldn't really be the case if you had only built a strong support system. So that's a very good point to put across. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you found any of these points inspiring, if you find them insightful to you, feel free to hit the like button, but also let us know in the comment section below which one was very important, like which one stood out to you, which one sparked you the most. Do you think there's another point that we should have shared that we missed out? Share with it in the comment section below. I'll also invite you to share this video with your loved ones. Help someone else out there. They may not be able to find it, but you found it, and maybe it is changing your life, so change someone else's life as well. Lastly, I invite you to check out our website. There are plenty of resources, plenty of other digital tools that we have mentioned in this video and others that we haven't mentioned. They will help you on your wellness journey. Remember, look at your life at a 360-degree angle. So it's not only just work, but holistically your well-being. And we will see you in our next video. Bye.